I'm done. I'm done. Blackmagic, you did it again. I'm done. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. So my name's MC. For those of you who don't know, I do filmmaking tips, filmmaking advice, cinematic sequences, and all that cool kind of stuff, and vlogs and travel whenever I do get the chance to travel. So Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K just got announced. I'm maybe like I'm like a day late with like getting on top of these videos being out. Blackmagic Design did it again. So like it was 2:30 in the morning here in the UK. I could not sleep and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go on Instagram. What is the first thing I see? A share from like Blackmagic production news or something. The Pocket 6K got released. What? So, okay, for those of you who are totally unfamiliar with anything I'm talking about, Blackmagic Design released a 4K version of this camera earlier in this year, or was it this year? It was this year, yeah. And it like just took over the market. Like almost everyone has one, which is awesome. I don't have one because I have a Red Scarlet W and I have an A7S II, so I didn't see the need for it. I mean, why get a pocket cinema camera when I have a larger cinema camera? And like the specs were different. It had a micro four thirds sensor, blah blah blah. Now they've gone and made a 6K version with an EF mount. I'm gonna list the specs in a moment. And I was reading through the specs and I was like, oh my God. Then I got to the price. It's $2.5 grand. It's a tenth the price of this. It's a tenth of the price. Now, of course, just because it shoots 6K and just because it's a tenth the price of this Red Scarlet W doesn't mean it's better. Okay, so quickly I'm gonna go through the specs. Okay, so real quick, here are the specs. So it can shoot 6K. It now has a Super 35 format sensor with a max resolution of 6K, like I said, 6144 by 3456. So the Super 35 sensor is going to give better low light, of course, because it's a bigger sensor, so it can pick up more light. You have EF mount now, so you know, native EF lens support, which is awesome. It has 13 stops of dynamic range, and it has dual native ISO, which is something that's very appealing, of like 400 and 25,600. What? Really? What? I'm reading this off The Verge. I thought it was 400 and then like 3,200 or something, because that's kind of like standard. I mean, 3,200 is still very good. That seems too high. I feel like, maybe they misreported it. I don't know. And then it has all the same connectivity as the previous ones, so like the USB-C, the mini XLR, full-size HDMI, DC power, mic input, headphone output. It's still operated by the touchscreen as the previous 4K model. And then, of course, it starts at $2,495. I think it's around the same price in the UK. It was like 2,400 something pounds. So I'm just like, wow. So honestly, like, okay, everyone's going nuts about this camera on Instagram and on YouTube, and for me, it's more like Blackmagic are really trying to push the industry to make better cameras and make them more affordable, because Panasonic's S1H or S1, I forgot what it's called, there's no way it's gonna be under 3 grand. There's no way it's gonna be 2.5 grand. Like, I was expecting that to be like $4,000 at least. The A7S II when it came out was like $4,000. Or more than that actually. I'm thinking Singapore dollars. I think it was like near 5 grand. But it was really expensive when it first came out, way more than this pocket cinema camera. And so I think it's really good that Blackmagic are really pushing the industry, saying like, you know, we need to do like put more, give the consumers what they want. The 6K also has an anamorphic mode. I totally forgot to mention that. The 4K doesn't, which I know some people are mad about. I'm not, because I don't own it. So Blackmagic have been pushing the industry for a while now with their 4K cinema camera, and now the 6K one has come out, or is coming out. And in all honesty, the Pocket 4K made me like rethink the Red a little bit. I was like, you know, the image out of it is beautiful. It shoots 4K, which in all honesty is the highest resolution I export at. Like some YouTube stuff, I'll export at 5K, but it's more private work. Like I'll just shoot a cool video and I'll be like, I'll just upload it in 5K because it's shot in 5K. Any client work though is exported to 4K at most. Sometimes it's still 1080p. A lot of things are still exported at 1080p anyway. So it's like 4K is a little bit of a luxury. It's like becoming the new standard. I hope it is the new standard one day. Like I only just got a new 4K TV this year. Yeah, all the rustling in the house. I live like 10th floor and the wind is just nuts. And then when I saw that this 6K was out and the EF sensor and it can shoot 6K, 60 frames a second, what? And then it's just the price. And I was like, you know, I mean, okay, with this camera, you need to spend about another $1,000 to like properly rig it out so it's actually like usable, because the ergonomics of the camera itself, I'll say here now, they suck ass. So bad. Like if you're using the body on its own, it's terrible ergonomics. The body design is not great. But, I mean, the button layout is good, but the body design is, could be better. And there's no flip out screen. But like you spend another $1,000 rigging it out and you've got a really good solid setup. And it was making me rethink my Red, like properly rethinking, like the image out of this is so good. Why even keep the Red? I mean, it's a 10th the price. It shoots a higher resolution, which resolution isn't everything, because like iPhone 4K is very different to like the Pocket Cinema Camera 4K is 4K. It's very different to Red 4K. But when the gap between professional cinema cameras like the Reds and Aries, and then the other side of the spectrum where like the mirrorless cameras live, the Pocket Cinema cameras live, when the gap is getting smaller and smaller with every single new release of whatever camera it is, it really makes you question like, what do you really need? I mean, this is actually something I really did consider for a little bit. I was like, maybe I should just sell the Red and get the Pocket 6K, because I mean, in terms of like professionalism, a rigged out camera is a rigged out camera. It will look professional no matter what. But the most important thing is how your work looks. That's what the client will always notice first. They won't really give a shit about your camera. They'll give a shit about how your work looks. And if you show up with like a little camera and you're like, yeah, this is what I shoot on, they're gonna be like, fine, whatever, man, just so long as it's the same for me. Or you could show up with a big cinema camera and it's the same thing. I mean, I get compliments about my Red because it looks cool as hell, and Reds do look cool as hell. But what's important is the image, right? And damn, did I consider it. So overall, my thoughts on the camera, am I gonna be picking it up? In all honesty, I don't think I'll be picking it up. There's just too many things about the camera that I don't particularly like. I think the main thing for me is like, it's not really got any reliable autofocus, which is something that annoys me about the Red. The ergonomics of the camera itself are not that great. You have to spend another $1,000 rigging it out, which I am not unfamiliar with because I've had to spend thousands to make this Red work. Yeah, I think it's really cool. I definitely would like to try it. So anyone who does pick up the 6K and is in the UK, hit me up. Let's collaborate and make a cool like comparison between Reds and the Pocket 6K. But yeah, this should be a very exciting time, a very exciting year for pocket-sized cinema cameras and mirrorless cameras. Honestly, the A7S III, they're gonna have to step up. Sony are really gonna have to blow people out of the water with this, because I expect 6K, this is going off on a tangent, but I expect 6K at the very least. But as for the price and things, and the fact that it's still gonna have to take photos as well, because like the A7S II takes photos, so the A7S III has to take photos. Ooh. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you're thinking of picking it up or if you've already pre-ordered it. And yeah, as soon as you get some test footage, like tag me in the comments or something, or I don't know, send me a DM on Instagram to show me what you've shot. Really excited to see what comes out of this, whether the 6K resolution is gonna make a huge difference compared to the 4K from the Pocket Cinema cameras. And yeah, thanks so much. Like, comment, subscribe. See you around. Peace.